What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the counselor's office. We are actually going to do a normal, the most normal as normal can be this week in Destiny, because they actually pumped out actually important information. Who would have thunk? We actually got something that wasn't just generic trash info fluff, as we all know. This week of Destiny, let's just jump into it because there's quite a bit to kind of skim through. I'm going to skip the top. The top, I don't care. I do think it's funny, though, this statement. This week in Destiny, we're starting to board the Heresy hype train. Are we really? Are we? Oh, are we? I guess we already made it to the station because the hype train went choo-choo bye. Anyways, that's your daily reminder that this population's going down the drain. But yes, the hype train has started, which is funny because the best way to start hype train for a new episode is content that is sold next to it that you have to buy separately. That's right, the dungeon. We're talking about the dungeon next that's coming out along with, on the side of, that you have to purchase separately of Heresy, episode 3, Heresy. I have to say this because there's so many people who just, I don't know what it is that people pair the dungeon with the season. Like, when we talk about the season, we've got to talk about the dungeon. No, you don't, you jackass. In fact, Vesper's Host was probably the best thing to come along in the same time period as episode 2. The problem was, along with the rest of the game, the free activities, the paid activities, everything, is the game was fundamentally broken. And so let's just read, and I'm going to give my feedback. Sundered Doctrine Dungeon Race. Heresy is right around the corner, and with it comes the launch of a new dungeon. I love, even Bungie gaslights people with their statements. Comes with it. No. It doesn't come with it. It comes alongside. Maybe even then, it says in the same sphere. You still have to pay for it. This makes it sound like Heresy is going to give you the dungeon, and the dungeon would have existed even without Heresy. On Friday, February 7th, travel to Savathun's throne world and infiltrate Rolk's pyramid in the new dungeon, Sundered Doctrine. To celebrate the launch, we're issuing a challenge to the top fire teams in the world with the Sundered Doctrine Dungeon Race. Let me just say right now, I got incredibly hyped when I saw this. We're going back to Savathun's throne world. Hype. We're going back to Rolk. Disciple of the Vow was just masterclass raid. So it does give me hype for the dungeon until you realize that Vesper's Host was a dumpster fire with bugs, game breaking. It was annoying, but when you didn't have any of the bugs happen to you, it was a good experience. So, and dungeons generally outside of the bugs are probably some of the best content. In fact, I would say they're better than the exotic missions, and I hate to say it, the dungeons are becoming better than even the raids are. And that's kind of what Bungie's trying to make the race now, is they're trying to make it more of the replacement for the fact that they're only doing one raid a year and one dungeon a year. So we're getting less content, and to try to make up the difference. I said this in the last video about Vesper's Host. When they announced Vesper's Host in the race, they were doing the top 3, and that was it. I was like, oh, gee willikers, that's great. Everyone gets a participation trophy when it should be the top one, and they don't get jack shit from it except for like a customized something. I forgot what it was. It was just so boring. Even though it had no impact on me at all, I'll never see any of the world's first stuff because I don't have a dedicated clan anymore, because a lot of them have retired, like majority of the players in this game. The people who are going to get day one are the people who are still religiously playing this game. That's who's going to get day one. The teams that are religiously playing this game, or are content creators who stream this game more than what a normal human being should be playing this game. I'll just say that right now. But I can still see where people who put in the time and effort, because they're, like I said, it's not just streamers who win, it's also people who are dedicated to this game. You know, you put in the time, you deserve something for your time and effort. Bungie agrees. So instead of giving everyone participation trophies, Bungie is making it where the top team will get an actual trophy, like an actual trophy, which is fine because we know that it's replacing raids and there's no raid belt. So you might as well have something. If you're going to make dungeons the new raids, you might as well, like, clearly they've done everything to shape the dungeon into a raid. White mechanics, timers, limited revives, all the shebang bang. Let's be honest. Whether you like that or not, it's whatever, right? That's not part of the conversation right now. It's just the conversation of them not just giving wins to 3 top teams. It's the one team that deserves it. I am interested because I feel like without the Vesper host was such a weird damage phase. Granted, I like it, but I also don't like it because I felt like it was too punishing. But it was also one of those just get good scrub moments. But at the same time, there's 2 ways to play it. Either get out of the map, which most people were doing, or rely on well, which is funny because I thought we were trying to not make content that was focused around well anymore. But here we are in 2025. Maybe we'll see something different. So there's the details. Your power capped at 1995. Power doesn't matter. Like, it's so irrelevant. I don't know why they increased the power level. It shouldn't even matter. But I think everyone starts out every season at base, which is what you just need to be able to play, which is great. And then the criteria, make sure you get your loot all in one character and then loot and leave if you care. 48 hours. Sorry. If you have to wait until the first team completes it to get access to the normal mode, which I think a lot of people would rather have. And again, if you do beat it in 48 hours, you get a nice emblem, which I feel like the emblem is better than the solo flawless one. But if you don't care about day one, at least you can get the solo flawless and flex that, even though I personally think emblems are the most pointless thing. Second to titles. They have no prestige or value anymore because there's so many goddamn versions of them now, and you can only have one. It's like none of it matters to me. Like, and most other people, like, it's become a Call of Duty situation, though I would say Call of Duty, at least they have animated emblems, which makes it based on, like, does it look cool? And that's pretty much it. You, at this point, just wear the emblem that looks cool and wear the title that sounds cool to you. And that's where we're at in Destiny. No, day one emblems mean nothing except for like the first day or week when you're trying to find a team to do your other characters. Like, hey, I got the day one emblem. All right, get on the team. You don't have to fight to get a spot. We'll just run it. All right, and then you get the fancy emblem for Twitch. I don't care. This is what we really care about. This is the juicy bits. Heresy abilities. This is where it actually matters for Heresy. Howdy, wait, is there anything else I'm missing? I just want to make sure. Okay, no. Heresy. So let's just talk about it. They're adding a new verbiage for Arc. They added some for Stasis with the Frost armor. They're adding Bolt Charge because let's be honest, Arc has fallen behind. It goes Solar, in my opinion, is like #1. And I'm not saying Solar like the kit itself. I'm saying Solar like ignitions and all that stuff is like #1. #2, Stasis. It's Stasis or Void. And then Arc, like Strand's good too, but after the nerf, I think Suspend is not nearly as good or even as like exciting. And I don't think very many people use Sever. Like, I'm gonna be honest, like we have like easy Sever options. It does come in handy. Like very niche situations and teams will take that value, but I feel like very, very, very rarely will stuff like Sever and that stuff come into play. But beneath that is like Arc. Arc had like nothing except what Vol Shot, and that's it. Like, oh, you can blind things. Well, Bolt Charge is the answer that maybe Bungie's asking. They're like, hey, will you take this? So Bolt Charge is a little different mechanically than our previous ones. So we're just going to jump into it. Bolt Charge is a positive stacking buff that you build on yourself over time Once you reach max charge, your next ability attack will unleash a devastating bolt arc lightning. While you have one or more stacks from any source, aspects, fragments, weapons, perks, dealing damage with any weapon increases your bolt charge stack count. Each time a stack is gained, you gain a chunk of melee energy. At 10 stacks, your bolt charge is ready, and any ability, arc or otherwise, summons a powerful arc bolt, dealing roughly the same amount of damage as a solar ignition with a smaller area of effect. There we go. That was, like I said, ignitions are kind of like the dominant way to do DPS. And now they have some competition. They were like, hey, we're going to give you the same thing with arc. Because Void, you could say, what about Void? Well, Void does like a lot of things. Like it weakens. It also adds volatile rounds. Like there's a lot of things you can do with Void. Void's always been something. And Stasis now with like chill clip becoming more abundant. And the fact that you have the new perk, I forgot what's rhyme. Is it rhyme stealer? Rhyme scale? Something like that. Something rhyme. You can start building up frost armor, which is also getting a buff. So overall, I think they're doing a good job. But I'm gonna give you my like hint of my thoughts about this. I don't think it's not enough. I don't think it's enough. We'll get to that in a minute. Well, you have more one stacks. We already talked about that. It goes up to 10 stacks. That's cool. That's pretty easy. Similar to addition to Frost Armor to Stasis with the release of the final shape, we have woven Bolt Charge into Arc and Prismatics to those subclasses to access new keyword. The new Arc aspect for Striker, Titan, and Stormcaller Warlock also feature Bolt Charge. Please refer to the balance pass below. So we're just going to jump into it. Let's look at we're getting 3 new aspects for Heresy, which is great. I think that's good. Here's the thing. Bungie should have been releasing new aspects every season. Like Diablo 4 does that. Diablo 4 releases 4 or whatever amount of aspects per character every season. That's how you build diversity, and 2, that's how you make seasons more, refreshable. Instead of putting all the refreshable garbage in the artifact, put it in the kit itself, and have your artifacts that are broken or fun, and then they go away after the end of the season. Like that's the stuff. This is great and all, but this is like way late on the podium. Like, why is it that we get here, and then now we're suddenly adding more diversity to the game? We're actually doing something. Like, I appreciate Arc finally getting love, but like, come on, man. Now, on the prowl, this is going to be probably one of my favorite aspects for Hunter, because I think Void Hunter has always been good. It's always been very dominant, especially for its ability for, carrying the team. I do that. I used to use Omnioculus all the time for GMs, just because even though it may not be the meta, it was always an easy get out of free gel, or here, I'm going to babysit my team. So I'm thinking Gerfalcons, Omnioculus with this aspect. Oh, baby. And then pair that with, what is it? The Disciple of the Vow. Why do I not remember the raid exotic? That exotic is going to be eating good because you're going to be able to keep all your buffs. Like this, you essentially will just be invisible 24/7 with that rotation. The only reason it's not as so hot is because Prismatic, Prismatic anything is hot. Let's be honest. But it's not like so beneath Prismatic that you would never touch it. I can definitely see myself swapping off and using this over Prismatic. On the prowl, entering invisibility marks a nearby enemy as a priority target for you and your team. Note, this does not enable players to mark them through walls and Crucible. Yeah, good thing you know that. PvP players will be raging. Defeating targets creates a weakening cloud of smoke that essentially gives you the Omnioculus ability, except your teammates can just walk through it on themselves, which is cool. A stationary block. You just like that. I like that. I dig that. When target is defeated, you and nearby allies get increased weapon reload and stability. That part is, I think, is a nothing burger in my opinion. Short duration. You also get grenade energy, melee energy, and class of it. This is what I'm talking about for Hunter. You're just going to be able to keep Omnioculus and your abilities up like so much. Now, you could also use this for Prismatic. I believe they said you could use this. Is a new void aspect. I don't know. Maybe it's just void only to encourage people. But like I said, it's nasty. Let's watch it. Let's watch it. Yeah. So you easy target, easy kill, and the fact that your teammates can just like run through it, and it just keeps chaining. I don't see successful hunt. Hold on. Let's watch the cooldown because I'm very curious about how this works. So you get on the prowl, successful hunt. You've got a timer. Okay. There's another one. So I believe at some point there's a cap because you can see it saying times 2. So I imagine there's a cap at how many times you can do that before you have to wait for the timers to disappear. If you're running through like this, obviously it's not that good, but I think in like a GM where you're more stationary or you're trying to move to different choke points and you're not like blitzing through, I think it's going to be really nice for helping and guiding, especially if you kill something right next to you and you kind of peek in and out. I don't know. I think that's pretty neat. All right. Night Stalker has many ways to go invisible. Like we're skipping this. Like we already know. If you're not, yeah. What envisioned for this aspect was to embody what it means to avoid hunter. To us, it was important to reflect the fantasy of bounty hunter. On the prowl works well with the entire Night Stalk and allows your allies to be on the fun for a short time. Even warlocks and titans can feel what it's like to be a bounty hunter. Wait, didn't we ship a bounty hunter gun too? Curious. Wait, what? Am I? Oh, wait, are they talking about Kel's Slayer's Fang? Is that it? Is that what they're talking about? Slayer's Fang? I mean, I guess this would be all right with Slayer's Fang if you're just going invisible constantly. I don't know. I'm not. The shotgun's mid. I can think of better weapons to take care of the synergy. Storm's Keep. Strikers, you're up. Storm Keep is a new ability focused on the aspect of Arc Titans that utilizes Bolt Charge. Casting, we got Storm's Keep, which is casting your class ability to grant a moderate number of Bolt Charge stacks to you and nearby allies. While you're behind your barricade, your allies gain stack of Bolt Charge over time. So it's not just you, it's also your allies. And any weapon damage will discharge max stacks of Bolt Charge. Okay, let's just watch it. Okay, there we go. We got Bolt immediately just getting almost like it is nothing. Holy crap. Okay, I mean, I'm going to give my thoughts on Titan in a minute. My God. So we're just going to casting Thruster or Barricade will give you and nearby allies a good chunk of Bolt Charge stacks. I'm not seeing anything. We're excited to see how players build craft around Bolt Charge and Sword Keep to maximize damage and add Striker's Legacy as the hit fast. I don't know, man. Bungie really wants people to step away from Prismatic or like the go-tos like Solar. They're like, I don't know. You let me know. I'm not a Titan main. I think, Titan has a good super. Like, I don't think Striker is it. I don't see myself ever carrying it, especially for DPS. I don't know. Maybe you want to be a full-on glass cannon, and that's the dream. You're using Bolt Charge. You're slamming everything. You're just full-on embracing the ad clear. I don't know. Titans, let me know what you think. Now, more my drill. Warlocks. We're just come to say everyone loves buddies. An Arc buddy was begging for a sibling. Behold, we found one in Iconic Sentry, our new Arc aspect for Warlocks. Ionic Sentry. Defeat targets with Arc abilities or weapons to charge up an Ionic Sentry. Activate Grenade, deploy a powerful turret which blinds on impact and sends out bolts of lightning and chain nearby enemies and grants stacks of Bolt Charge when it defeats. Let's just watch it. Okay, so you're just like launching it into a group. It's shocking things. It kills trash ads. And it's blinding. So here's the thing. I'm thinking endgame. Like the dungeon is always a good like comparison to base raids, but I'm thinking like master raids and like grandmasters, the things that the world I live in. I think the thing that's very enticing about it is the blinding, how far it can reach and blind. If it's like a very small section, it's pointless. I'd rather just use a blinding GL and call it a day. Now, like, especially like day one when you're under level, like this thing could be very good. Like in situations like this, like I remember doing this encounter day one, and that was the hot spot, right? Like right around there on just nonstop enemies. And it kind of just, the fact that they're all blind, that could be very helpful. And like in like the day ones and stuff. And mostly the blind, the damage is probably going to be minimal. I'm probably not going to be impressed. Would I swap to Arc Warlock just for this? No, I'm sorry. Arc is the weakest of all, except for Hunter. I would argue Hunter is always very strong. But when it comes to like Titan and Warlock, Arc is the weakest of everything. And I still think it's going to be the case. I still think it's going to be significantly weak compared to everything else. Stormcallers are masterful at channeling Arc, reshaping and redeploying it to cause mayhem on the battlefield. With Ionic Sentry, Stormcallers have harnessed Arc energy and coalesced into a perfect orb of hurricane and harmony. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna be honest. In our place, let's read what they say. In our play test, Ionic Sentry has been a favorite of Stormcallers, providing much needed area control during combat and access to potent damage through bolt charge. That is something to consider, but I still don't think it's going to be worth it. Build crafting paths for Stormcaller are much wider than with Ionic Sentry in the mix, and we are excited to see where players take it. I think it's a step in the right direction. I still think it's nothing. Like, I have no reason to take off Prismatic. I can have 3 different builds with three different exotics, but they all work with the turrets. I'm sorry. Especially the newest one. I forgot what it's called. The Relament. I think it's Relament, right? The stasis, the enhanced stasis buddy. I think that is going to continue to reign the king over this. And yes, this is an ability, but the exotic, as soon as I pop a riff, baby. Oh, or did I say rift? I meant your grenade. I don't know. I think this is the weakest of all 3. I'm not excited for it. It's neat, and you could probably have fun with it. But for day one, I still think having Prismatic or just base solar for survivability, and that's a key thing, survivability. You might be able to blind things, but who needs to blind it if they're dead already and you are healing yourself? Food for thought. Heresy balancing changes. Here comes the nerfs. Bungie doesn't like Titans. Joke. Let's just talk about it. Arc Strider. They're buffing Tempest Strike. Now you're going to have killing any jolted target grants bolt charge. Expect that through all of the Arc kit now. Increase PvE damage by 57%. I guess that's cool. Cool. Disorienting Blow. Now grants a moderate amount of bolt charge stacks when dealing damage with Disorienting Blow. Now deals significant damage in the area around it instead of just a single target. So it's meant for area control. I think that might actually give more value to the punch. Like, for sure. Increase the blind AoE from 6 to 9.6. I mean, blinding, you're killing things, you're hitting everything. Okay. Again, like I said, Arc Hunter is probably, I would say, very, like, I want to say Void is like my favorite, but when it comes to power and potential, like Arc has always been good on Hunter for the fact that pole dancing is just good. And the base melee kit, like, has always been good. Arc Staff, reflecting attack will grant stack a bolt. Like, this is the regular Arc Staff sucks ass. I'm going to say it. No one, it's a disappointment. Ascension. Now, this is where I see most of it, and I see it mostly in the Prismatic kit. Ascension, increase fragment slots to 3. Prismatic always had that. Activating Ascension will activate the effects from following abilities: Gambler Dodge, Marksman's Dodge, Empowering Dodge, and Threaded Spectre. We don't plan to make Ascension activate every Hunter class ability perk, but we add more interaction in the future. We may add more. Okay, cool. Threaded Runner and Snaring Slam. Activating Snaring Slam will now activate the effect from following abilities: Gambler's Dodge, Marksman's Dodge, and Threaded Spectre. Threaded Spectre, increase the clone PvE damage resistance from 40% to 70%. Like, they nerfed this to the ground. Like, there were so many good kits, like builds, and then they nerfed it and it became really redundant. So I'm glad at least it's getting a buff so it can like take some damage. I just wish champions could be blinded, like can be, you know, funneled to it, or like mini bosses. Like, I don't know. Striker, Juggernaut. Well, Juggernaut shield is active. Players now have splash damage resistance, 60% in PvE and 10% in PvP. Yeah, that's the biggest reason why I just don't like barriers, which they're going to talk about it in a minute. This is the splash damage. While the Juggernaut shield is active, players now have 10% damage resistance versus PvE combatants. Juggernaut shield blocks damage. Players are granted a stackable charge. I don't know. I don't think that for Titans this is going to move the needle. It will for like using Striker. I think that for sure. But on its own, like if you're trying to use it, the melee to shoulder charge, first off, I don't think the shoulder charge is going to be worth the bacon anyways. Ballistic Slam. Sprint time requirement before activation. And I mean that in like Grandmasters and Master mode stuff. Obviously, you can play basic content and shoulder charge is fine. Ballistic Slam. I forgot this was a thing, to be honest. Damage now scales based on distance travel. Whoa. Damage versus PvE combatants increased by 30%. Wait, so is it scale up to the maximum of 30%? Each enemy damaged by Ballistic Slam grants a stack of bolt charge. Up to 10. Okay. Sentinel. Now I've heard a lot of sauce about this. Unbreakable. Increase the rate that Unbreakable offense throw charges up when blocking damage. Increase max damage dealt from the offensive throw by 20%. Increase the health pool of the shield to make it less likely to break when under heavy fire. Increase the void over shield charge rate while holding the shield. Throw now costs half a grenade energy instead of a full charge. And while Sentinel shield is equipped, orb of power creation cooldown increased from 1 second to 4.5 seconds. Unbreakable has received a significant buff here. We want it to be strong, but we'll be monitoring closely to make sure we haven't gone too far. Ward of Dawn. Ward of Dawn now does a weaken pulse when the ward is created. That's cute. They neutered the reason to use Ward of Dawn except for niche situations. I just don't understand why they had to kill it along with Well. It's not like Bubble was overly broken. And it was a niche situation where you could step in and step out to get the buff. I don't know. It's just, and then of course, Titans, another reason that they hate you, or specifically the Solar Titan. Rest in peace, Solar Titan. Consecration. Reduce Scorch Wave and Slam Wave damage in PvE by 55%. When reviewing the damage cost ratio for certain abilities, it became clear that Concentration was doing too much for too little. We didn't want to take away the dramatic pop moment of landing both waves on a large target, so we kept its increased ignition damage bonus and instead reduced the wave damage. We suspect we may also need to adjust the ignition damage in the future. I think if you slept on a rock, you didn't see this coming, but I think everyone saw this coming. Granted, the popularity was increased with 3 slams because of Prismatic, and it was increased because of the class exotic items. Why we're nerfing the base ability due to them, I don't understand. Why are you murdering Solar Titans? You murdered the hammer, and now you're murdering the slam. It's like, they really want you to stop playing Solar Titan. They just like, no, you're either Prismatic or Void or you're broke. Because I'm telling you right now, like, I'm not that enticed to ever play Arc Titan. It's been a long time. I mean, since I've been enticed. I think there was that one season where the storm grenade was nasty and I was just spamming and it was doing so much damage. It was so fun. That was the one time I played Titan Arc religiously for an entire season. After that, it's Priz or break. I mean, Strand. There's also Strand. You know, Strand, nothing really changed about Strand. Banner of War is still cracked AF. Just don't tell anyone or Bungie will nerf it. I still think it's funny. The dialogue that Bungie hates Titans. It's kind of true. Like, right now, Titans only really have melee focus builds. And now they're trying to put in the tank option. Like, they want you to be a tank. Like warlocks, they want you to be like the minion build. Hunters, they're trying to make you more into the hunter. And then, like I said, Titan. But I think it's too little. I think it's too late. And I think it's not being done in a good way. I feel like they're pulling what Diablo 4 did when Diablo 4 first came out. They just nerfed all the good stuff and then later buff and made other class like build options viable. I feel like Bungie should first focus on making other things more enticing and then tune it. I still agree that this needed nerfed because anytime I use Titan, that's all I'm using is slamming on Prismatic. I still think it should have been tuned differently for Sunbreaker. I think the fact that you only get one slam on Sunbreaker, it should be strong. It should be absolutely powerful because you get the one and done and that's it. And you don't have access to the class items with Synthoceps and Foil. Like, you don't get that combo on Sunbreaker. So I think this is another huge overcorrection. And I think Bungie's shooting themselves in the foot. Buff both things, not both things, but like buff more options so Titans can have more options besides just the one thing. And then be smart when you're nerfing something. Identify the real issue. The real issue is not necessarily Sunbreaker, it is Prismatic. But we know Bungie doesn't want to do that directly because then no one will buy the final shape anymore if you nerf the Prismatic stuff. Bungie's always got to make bank. Warlock, Stormcaller, Storm Trance against non-champion enemies, 20%. Chaos Reach, 15%. Like, who? I'm not wasting my damage unless it includes like bosses, but it says non-champion. So it has to include bosses, right? Lightning Surge. Like, I do find it funny that Bungie class, like, specifically, like, we can't let you do more damage to champions. Champions are a joke. I can sneeze on a champion, even with guns. Like, why are we acting like champions really are game, like, challenging? I will continue to say it, that champions make the game easier because they're so easy. You can stun them. And two, they usually end up helping you because you get free ammo bricks of some sorts if you have a right team composition. Like, and they're free tokens. They're free life. Like, especially Grandmasters. Like, I find Banes more threatening than champions. It's funny to me. Lightning Surges. You know what they should do? I know I'm stuck on this. Stop worrying about champions and do Bane specific damage. Like, people do less damage to Banes. Make them scary. Like, seriously. You have all these other yellow bars, champions, whatever. You deal with them all the same. Banes, they're the actual threat. And they really are sometimes the actual threat. That's just a food for thought for challenge. Lightning Surge. Removed Amplify on cast. Now grants ult charge. Increased damage to PvE combatants by 30%. We have Voidwalker. Handheld Supernova. Chaos Accelerant Magnetic Grenade version. That's very specific. Increased total projectile count from 5 to 9. The width of the core's blast, roughly 2 meters. Height of the cone by 1 meter. Reduced projectile damage in PvP from 20 to 15 to account for additional projectiles. Adding 4 projectiles is potentially a substantial damage increase, but due to its increased size of the cone blast, all projectiles won't land on a single small target. This means PvP potency should remain similar to PvE. This is much more reliable add clear tool and single target burst damage against larger targets. Neat. All classes. We knew this was going to happen. Radiance, they're nerfing it to 20%. Except, well, if Radiance is going to remain the same. Listen, they nerfed Rift. I fully suspect that we're going to get to the point where Bungie is, if they want to tune this game, they're going to start nerfing all damage multipliers. Now, the problem with that is it's going to get to a point where content that's scaled directly for the fact that Radiant exists, it's going to make some things more unbearable and take a lot longer to do, which makes it a lot less fun. I think the game enemies will need a damage pass, like, or health pass. But I'm going to be honest. If there was one thing I agree with people that Destiny 1 does better than Destiny 2, is that I think introducing so many damage perks has ruined the game. I would rather, like, and I'm not talking about like incandescent or jolt shot or volatile rounds. These are neat additions. I'm talking about like kill clip, rampage, killing tally. Like, these are perks that just all they do is increase the damage. I think guns should just at base be what they are. Unless you're going to allow modification like Warframe. That's just my general thought. Like, I would rather have unique perks like jolt shot, jolting feedback. Let that be your damaging stuff, and just let the damage come from the gun itself directly. Like heavies do just a certain amount percentage more damage. I don't know. I know I'm probably in the very minority of that. I'm gonna be honest. I would not be surprised if people are like, hell no. But I understand. I'm already telling you. You don't have to tell me I'm probably in the minority of it. I get it. But I'm going to tell you that we will probably see more. There it is. Stasis armor. Max stacks go to 50%. That's right. So you can have 50% reduction. Like Frost armor, they're making Frost armor very enticing. And it's even easier with the new Rhyme perk. Like the Rhyme perk is going to have a lot more desirability. You just need the right gun, right? So far, we got like a 120 hand cannon with it, which I'm like, bah, I want my 140 with it. Arc amplified. While amplified, PvP combatants are now less accurate against you. So it's like the Manticore. I think that's interesting. But again, how inaccurate are they? Like, how far away do I have to be? Like, there's a lot of questions. Like, this is neat. And again, they're trying to make Arc more enticing. I just don't think we're there yet. Spark of Discharge. Picking up an Ionic trace grants a bolt charge. Spark of Momentum, sliding over a brick, now grants bolt charge. Remove the bespoke melee energy bonus from sliding over a brick, since each stack comes with a bonus melee energy. Reduce the amount of time you need for sliding to activate. Spark of Frequency. While amplified, you gain bolt charge from all sources. In addition to its previous effects, Spark of Volts. Finishers now grant a bolt charge in addition to being amplified. Spark of Ions. Targets defeated with bolt charge will also make an Ionic trace in addition to previous effects. Prismatic works the bolt charge. That's pretty much it. Hope, Purpose, and Sacrifice all work with bolt charge. Modifiers. Brawn. Tuned healing sources to better balance the health economy when this modifier is active. I don't know. I just felt like we had more health than like, is Brawn where you just get kills? I don't remember Brawn. But either way, I don't remember. I don't remember Brawn ever being a problem, but maybe that's me. And that's it. All we have for Heresy. We're looking forward to it. I'm gonna be honest. These are nice, neat, but this seems like a mid-season update that they used to do. None of this excites me. Except for Hunter, because I like being a sneaky boy. Nothing here overly excites me, and like, oh man, Destiny's back. I'm ready for this episode. Just to sum this up, the past is prologue. This is just like Riven. And just like Riven, you're probably going to have to do boring ass chores, boring ass shit that does absolutely fuck all. But you get goodies. For some reason, it's capped too. We'll get to that in a minute. But the only thing most people will care about is Chatterwhite. A D1 classic is coming back. You get bento tokens from Drifter. And if you've turned in 5 of them, you will get the Chatterwhite shader. That's what I will do. And that's what I will get. Now, let's see. You get a total of 8 for 2 weeks. You know, instead of actually giving a grind, and things for people to farm out. Like, do you know how many people would farm all this material? I would probably, even though it would be boring as hell, getting max exotic ciphers, max currency, like, you only get 8, which means you have to choose from this list of stuff, which is, let's be honest, I already have a God Roll Cataphract, maybe for Precision Instrument on Igneous Hammer. Maybe. I don't know how good Fragile Focus is, man. I think Rapid Hit was the play. I'm not for sure, but like someone can tell me, like, is that really the God Roll? Or is at least Perpetual Motion? Honestly, Perpetual's not that good. I mean, it is good, but compared to like Zen Moment Kill Clip was where it's at. Riptide, Compulsive Reloader, and Chill Clip. No, auto loading is the play, but and honestly, there are better Chill Clip weapons now than a fusion rifle. Artifice Armor, I'm gonna give you the skinny here. If you're a new player, returning player, if you're a veteran, you already have your armor. If you're a returning player or a new player, casual player, don't waste this, because armor is gonna change here in the summer. So don't waste any fucking beans on this. It's not worth it. It's really not worth it at all. Mementos, if you really care, honestly, this is where I would spend it. Right here. Especially these, if you're not a raider, but you want to be able to buy like raid weapons in your next raid, abso-freaking-lutely just max out your quest, your conquest. I think this is very, like, for the cost that this is stupid. Like, bro, you're already capped. There's a cap on this. What do you mean? You get 2, you have to get 1. You can only get 2. That's it. I can only get 2. Why is it cap? Again, this would be a great opportunity to make people want to come back, because they're going to farm material that they would definitely need, like for crafting weapons if they ever come back, for enhancing weapons, definitely, for masterworking, for your exotic weapon focusing, for new players and returning players. Like this, you want people to come back and play your game, Bungie? People will come back just for this because they want to get exotics. It's so weird. The decisions Bungie does. Bungie is anti-farming. They will do anything to reduce a farm, especially material-wise. When it comes to the economy, Bungie is anti-no stonks. Sorry, not here. Oh, by the way, Titans won the slasher set. Hunters 57%, and Warlocks get Slender Man. This disappoints me. I like the slasher set better, specifically because I can take the armor set and split it apart and make multiple builds. I can't do shit all with this shitty ass set. Together, it's fantastic, but I'm looking individually and I'm pissed because maybe the boots, maybe the cape, the helmet. We already have a badass skull helmet. I can't do shit all with the chest or the freaking gauntlets. Like, I don't know. And by the way, I imagine this is going to look worse in game than it does picture wise. Maybe it would have been the same with the slasher set. I don't know. But people are going to be like, but you can get it. In addition to the runner-up entries for this year, we'll be releasing a runner-up wizard designs from last year's during Heresy. And they said that the sets that didn't win, they're doing the same thing. They're going to release them later down the line. Now, I did question on over here on over here by DMG, we're talking about how a certain class, no timeline on that, but we'll let you know. You can expect the kaiju to emerge from the depths. And people were asking, the Ghostface helmet will forever live in my heart. Runner up will appear at a later date. And so I responded by asking a question. No response, by the way. Will the runner-ups be purchasable with Bright Dust along with the cash option like the Festival of the Lost? No reply. Listen, Bungie is a master at wording things to make it sound like they're doing you a favor. Like they're doing a solid for the players. Guys, you will be able to get the wizard designs from last year. Isn't that exciting? For money. They're going to release it not on Festival of the Lost. You're going to have to spend cash for it, which they do about the Godzilla helmet that people were liking. We mentioned last week that we don't have plans to revisit voting runners up from from the years past, but there's one more set that bears mentioning, the Kaiju Lizard Hunter. Anytime we talk about the Festival of the Lost Armor, this set comes up, and looking back, there's some obvious magic happening. However, we don't feel like this old concept quite meets our standards for new armor sets. Instead of tossing the whole thing in the bin, we're taking a more targeted approach. In 2025, we will release a legendary Hunter Cloak ornament that pairs with a new look for the Dragon Shadow Exotic Hunter chest. Both items will be Kaiju Lizard themed and will pull inspiration from the old Festival Lost concept. P.S. We also like those energy claws, but we're reserving them for now. Oh my god, Bungie's doing it! They're giving us the Kaiju! They're giving us, but for paid, you dumbass. Anytime Bungie does class item ornaments, you have to pay cash for them. Unless you're lucky enough for them to put it in rotation for Bright Dust, which is who knows how long. Like, who knows how long. By the way, the class specific items that like have enhancements or have glow effects when you pair with that exotic, that is never in rotation. It's never a Bright Dust rotation. You have to pay cash for it. So people who have their tongue out like, oh, Bungie, you're doing us a solid. Bitch, you are a fat pig. You are a fat, dumb pig. They just want your money. Dumbass. Again, we don't feel like this concept quite meets our standard. Yeah, every time the community talks about it, instead of bringing back the armor that people would have normally bought with Bright Dust, we're going to bring back the class item and you get to pay us for it. Isn't that great? Also, we're making an ornament that you may or may not be able to buy later for Bright Dust, but you could pay for it now. Shut up and give us your money. Again, anyone who thinks that Bungie is going to do us a solid by releasing the runner-ups for Bright Dust, you're coping. And the people who are excited about the Godzilla cape, you're a dumbass. I am not against microtransactions in a game that is functioning and is free. Destiny is not free. You pay for seasons, you pay for dungeons, and you pay for the goddamn expansions. Why do I want to give you more money when you're already sucking my tits off? Anyway, games to give. Dramatic music. Don't care. Slayer's Fang. I do want to make a note. It's funny as hell, and I do make a note in my review. The reason you get weakened is because lore. And they compared it to like Sleeper Simulant, but Sleeper Simulant is actually good, and it's a heavy. I can use Choir of One, which is better than Slayer's Fang by a mile, and I don't kill myself, weaken myself, or kill myself, but okay. And then known issues. Imagine, you know, there may be a certain review that talks about all this. That's it. That's my video. Enjoy this. Yeah, enjoy this. I hope you enjoy. That's all I gotta say. I have nothing else to add to this. Man, Bungie is something special. Let's do the bare minimum, but we're gonna make some of it, try to make it the hypest thing. Do the bare minimum, make it the hypest thing you've ever seen, and then somehow make you hyped to spend more money on us. Cosmetics is the real end game now. Pretty much it is. You just play the game to look good at this point and give them your money to do so, I guess.